Se čujemo. Dame I gospodo, dobar dan još jednom.
Ladies and gentlemen, good day. It is my pleasure that we can talk about models of financing of the Serbian agriculture in 2025, given the fact that we are witnesses of the current financial situation. So we would like to hear what are the financing models for our growers and farmers to invest into their equipment and seedlings, etc., which will lead to better profitability. It is my great pleasure that we are going to talk to the people who have given a great contribution into financing of the Serbian agriculture. Let's start from the Director of the Administration for Agrarian Payments, Mr. Slobodan Nikolovski. The subsidies are very important for the farmers, for the growers, and it attracts attention of all growers, no matter what type of produce they are involved into. So can you reveal any statistics of payments in the past year? Because the agricultural budget is quite sizable. Good day, my name is Slobodan Nikolovski. I'm Director of the Administration for Agrarian Payments. I can say that in 2024, we had 21 of coal, 1,001 billion for direct subsidies and various interventions. For the rural development, we paid 3.6 billion, credit 1.7 billion, and subsidies for the 175 million and 144 million for further subsidies. So direct subsidies 99.1% of our budget. Last year was the final for the IPAT 2, 101 million of years. And 1,099 applications were paid. When you speak about these results, and these figures really are quite big, 138 billion is this year's budget plus the excise. So for the subsidies agriculture, so subsidies 117 billion. Plus the amount for the other contributions. We have today with us Mr. Savo Pavičić, Secretary for Agriculture of the city of Belgrade. Interesting thing, and I think it's very important to stress and emphasize that, are the subsidies for the purchase of tractors. I think this department is the rare one which subsidizes 70% of this purchase. Can you tell us what are the results of the calls you opened last year? And so the city of Belgrade allocated 533 million of dinars. In 2014 it was 20 million. Last year we had 500 million of dinars of subsidies, and 1 million of dinars is the maximum amount for subsidies of tractors. So there were 34 tractors that at a lower price, so there's the opportunity to buy such tractors. And for the largest tractors, we pay through the ministries, and 140 million for the other machines, then for the greenhouses as well, and standard in the beekeeping, 35 million of dinars to all beekeepers who apply in the past for these grants. It is 120 million of dinars a year. In 2014, was 45,000 of beehives, now it's 75,000. Where do you get the information about the competitions? I mean, what is necessary to change in your calls or competitions? So, and what's the interaction like with the growers? In order to change something and adapt to their needs. We are in the constant interaction and contact with the growers. So usually when they get something, we take a shot of that, a photo of that, and so we calculate, and when there is a list, the people start purchasing, so they are sure about that procurement, and we pay the amount of money they need for that. So whenever they say what kind of equipment they need, and then we receive the improvement from the municipalities and the local self-government units for that. So apart from the cattle breeding, we introduce various other items like cattle feed and others. So all of the people who apply to get the subsidy from the cities. Today we have Milan Stevanović, the coordinator of the World Bank coordinator. It is a SCAP, or Competitive Agriculture Project. Mr. Stevanović, when the project started, so the farmer called it 50-40-10. It seemed quite complicated at the very start, and some of them call it a small IPAD. But when there was a call and when the application started to be received, the growers realized that the application system was much less complicated than IPAD. Can you tell us something about the results? So thank you very much, Goran, for your invitation. We'd like to thank to the Belgrade Fair for the opportunity to share some of the experience of us. Today we are in 2025 and we summarize the results of the previous 4 years, and we're getting prepared for the new cycle of SCAP project. And you've noticed very well our first call for growers in fruit and vegetable sector seemed more complicated than it was. I can divide these stages into 3. So first we had the first public call. So out of 2022 applications, we supported 80, and I always use the opportunity to thank for the support we received from the Department for implementation of this very important project for our growers. So the applications were submitted in a paper form, then there were the second, third stages of the processing. Then the applicants know how it looked like, so there were the business plans, and then the contracting and others, and it seems a little bit complex and demanding at the very start. However, when you learn how to ride a bike after the third time, then you do that without these auxiliary wheels. So the first stage, the first call with 850 contracts ended. So we and the growers and the department, the consultants and the agricultural extension services use this as an practicing model. Thank you for compare us to IPAD. So it helped our growers to grow and in the future start using IPAD. The second stage with the second public call for the cattle breeding, fishing, and when we invested into the first fish ponds, and we had the building, then we had additional requirements from the environmental department, and then all stakeholders were familiar with the procedure, and that public call was quite quick, and the implementation was more efficient, and we supported 525 projects, so more than 1,350 projects from first two calls, with $15 million was invested into the primary production. The colleague from the city of Belgrade mentioned tractors, so every third new tractor was purchased through this project. So with the third public call, we entered the third stage. So according to the Administration for Agrarian Payments, the process and the procedures is online via application. So as the Administration for Agrarian Payments do, we have our application for submission and the processing of the applications. So according to the time in which we live, we turned to this online communication with the growers. We constantly align with their needs and requests, and in that way we grow as well as the agrarian sector. Well, that is our main goal. Thank you very much, Mr. Stevanović. Mr. Nikolovski, as Mr. Stevanović mentioned, apart from the SCAP project, there is IPARD 3. It is our chance. We use the IPARD 1 and 2 to a certain extent. So what is the amount through IPARD 3 that we have? It is it's 288 million euros. So as Milan mentioned, I cannot say that the IPARD 1 and 2 were poor in their implementation, but we use it as a learning model. So we are speaking about 101 million of European money. Now we have a very well-trained teams who educated themselves and trained themselves, and we believe that do that. We have 288 million of European money, and we had the first preschool for MER 1. So there were 389 applications, and I believe that in a month we will have a preliminary list. IPARD 3, the second public call for tractors, 848 applications were there, and MER 3 will be presented in a couple of days. For MER 1, for the procurement of the machines, we had 330 of the applications, and we started processing these applications. So at the moment when IPARD started being operable in Serbia, we had the opportunity, thanks to the EU delegation in Serbia, a group of journalists in Serbia went to Croatia. It was a study visit, and we listened to the SAPARD and IPARD as a pre-accession fund, because in the meantime Croatia became a EU member state. So the situation is quite similar. The experts are most important. So they told us, take care about the consultants. They are the major link in this process. And in that context, and I believe that the Ministry of Agriculture at its website placed a list of the consulting companies based on their implemented projects. Given that you have been working for a long period of time within the Administration for Agrarian Payments and know very well this, what would be your advice to the growers when they decide on the consultants who are going to write their projects? As I said, IPARD 2 is a program that when we started, the consultants were not did not know much about it, as well as growers. They educated themselves through the implementation of that project. So I cannot suggest which consultant to identify and choose, but we have the sector for approval of the project, so all applicants can come to our administration and they will get an entire service in the sense of the start of the processing of the implementation and everything. So the consultants are a very important link between us and the growers. Growers are in the farm. They do not have time to deal with that. But the consultants need to be aware when they assume their obligations to sign the contracts with the growers. But in part 2, we had the problems with consultants. Some of the consultants submitted the applications of the growers with certain debts, and we could not just meet their demands. I would like to draw their attention. So consultants and the growers are welcome in our offices. So we have the sector for the approval of the projects. They can get any kind of assistance and a service to draw their attention to focus on the important things. Thank you very much, Mr. Pavičić. You spoke about the things that the city of Belgrade do with regard to the assistance to the growers. We have to emphasize the collaboration between your secretariat and the growers. What do you think? How we should get to the information when it comes to the competitions and public calls? So when we opened the public calls, everyone is aware that we did that a little bit late last year because some objective reasons, but now we are going to do that early, but we have the people who are responsible for the agriculture. They don't have to come to our center. There are not many of us working in the office, so we cannot manage to work on that. But all of them can go to their municipalities in their departments and get the information. We also have very good collaboration with very good department for agriculture in Milan, and they help in applying or filling out the forms for applying for our calls. So Mladenovac and Grodska just take half of our grants and subsidies. So Obrenovac is there with 4 and 5 people in the municipality office working on these issues. But all of you who cannot do that can go to those offices. It's free of charge. The problem is when they come to go to the people that offer their services although they are in fact not furnished with all the information that the people working in the municipalities have. So whenever we have the meetings, or some public meetings with them, we tell them we show them and tell them, go to those people in the municipality, go to the advisory service, it's free of charge, and no one will ask you to pay that. So they can come to our office as well. Our door is always open for them, but we do not check the documentation. We don't have time for that. We just tell them what they need. Go to the advisory service. Everything is transparent. We organize the public call. They have 1 month to apply, and when they apply, the committee goes to that. They have the right to appeal, and then when there is the final ranking list, they have 30 or 90 days, depends on our time, and our commission go that. And when the commission gets the evidence, then we pay for what they need.
I also have to ask you, since you participated in the opening of Agro Belgrade at the very beginning, I mean, to what extent has this fair contributed to the development not only of agriculture but entire Serbia, given that we have a lot of companies, local farmers, producers present at this fair? In your opinion, to what extent did the fair contribute to our agrarian sector? Each fair, I have to say, not only speaking about the problems, it's good to hear different experiences. So this fair, at this part of the year, at the beginning of the year, when many public calls are sent out, people can come here to hear something about the prices, for example, of the tractors and other devices, or all other things they are interested in, because we hear such stories from our farmers, so they can see what which company offers what. At the beginning of March, we will send out public calls for 500 or 600 tractors, so they will have an opportunity to be prepared. Thank you very much, Mrs. Stevanović. Let's go back for the project of competitive agriculture, if you allow me. This public call was issued out for, was sent out for aggregators. When do you expect some new public calls? Because local farmers are very, very much interested in this sector. A lot of a great number of them are interested and are ready to apply for this part of the project. Thank you very much for this question. Given that the whole our team and our headquarters, we was even overly surprised by the number of applicants, because it exceeded all our expectations. We cooperated with the World Bank and the Ministry of Agriculture, so I have to underline that all our expectations have been exceeded in all aspects. We have 191 applications, almost 200 projects, which these are the projects up to 400,000 euros, worth of up to 400,000 euros. And based on some basic information, many projects will include renewable energy sources over 4 megawatts, which will help our manufacturing industry to be competitive. 80 projects plan 170 new jobs, and we supported and encouraged our farmers to apply. All those who deal with branding, placement on the markets, etc. Over 100 projects are planning investments in environmental protection, including the climate change's impact, which also leads to water and waste treatments, and over 120 projects focused on investments in digitalization. I know that you are very much interested in this sector. Digitalization and the introduction of technology in agricultural sector is something which is really of great interest for all of you. The Ministry of Finances and the World Bank are right now negotiating about the SCAP Phase 2 project, and together with the Ministry of Agriculture we prepared a full project for the 5-year period based on all previous experiences, both good and bad. So I do expect that this year we will have more information, and that our local farmers will, in the 2026, be able to invest more in digitalization in their machinery and climate changes sector, etc., and other investment that SCAP will be able to offer them. Our ambition is to be a leader in this sector, and through the payment methods from our ministry, they will be able to, based on our experiences, to plan their future steps, their next steps. As you could hear, we have a €1 billion budget, so we will be able to give an opportunity to our clients of the Ministry of Agriculture to keep pace with the new technologies and new investments. You also mentioned that through these public calls, you could see lots of applicants. So what are the biggest challenges you faced during the processing of all these applications? Look, we are a small team in numbers, but we are very dynamic and very efficient. Whenever we have a challenge or a problem in terms of modernization, with the support from our colleagues from the ministry and administration, we immediately try to resolve it. We usually pay more attention to preventive measures. We cannot avoid our colleagues from advisory services from the ministry, and this cooperation is deeper and deeper than the sector for rural development consultant. Our call center is open and available to people. They can call. We have a separate communication service. For example, when we sent out the third public call, we targeted we prepared for our targeted audience. We prepared a video which had over 4 million viewers. We tried to be as transparent as much. All producers or farmers know where our offices are, because many times they come without any appointment. They just pass by and they come to ask or for some clarification. So once the problem arises, we resolve it, of course, but 70% of our work is focused on prevention, and it is something we are very proud of. Mr. Nikolovski, speaking about the subsidies and generally about supportive measures to domestic agriculture, when do you expect the issuance of new public calls, especially for some cultivated hectares for our households and farmers? The umbrella decree was adopted at the government. We submitted all necessary documents, and we will continue payment for all breeding cattle. Many cases have already been processed. They were sent to inspection, and all applications submitted on time will be realized, meaning that local farmers who applied for some money will get the money very soon, and the next month they can expect a payment of these subsidies. Speaking about the milk premium, for which quarter of the year you already did the payment? We paid 20% of milk premium for this quarter of the year, and then next month we will continue with milk premium payment. We spoke about the city of Belgrade support to local producers. One of the important items were education of agricultural producers. Local sub-governments through various fairs and visits to farmers and farms throughout the country are very important. Are you engaged in some of such activities in terms of education? We also organize some panels in different municipalities. In the past 5 years, we have a very good cooperation with the Faculty of Agriculture in Zemun. We organized 3 training sessions from beekeeping, fruit growing and organic fruit production. Every year we can see some improvements after these training sessions together with our experts from the University of Agriculture. That is both hands-on sessions and theoretical parts. So we sometimes organize some trips for our farmers to see how it is organized and done in some other countries, for example. Also, one more important question regarding the competitive agriculture. As you mentioned, once you send out a public call, a large number of farmers apply for tractors, new tractors. Once we organized some survey not long ago, and we asked the farmers what is they most need on their farms. They said new tractor, most of them. That's number one. So to what extent is the purchase of new tractors, given the circumstances, because the average year of these tractors is about 20 years. So what do you think? Do we have to pay more attention to this item, to new tractors, to make it possible for local farmers to buy new tractors? We also, I have to say, organized our survey during the summer. We visited about 20% of our clients, and we carried out a very thorough analysis together with the World Bank experts. It was a very thorough, like a deep analysis because of the future program and some results and learned lessons. But I would like also to mention, you know, our system of investment, financing models, etc. It enable almost 20% of higher investment improvement and in production, and also adjustment of a purchase price for 80% of products, climate smart investments. About 40% of business plans also included something which could be called smart business investments, which resulted in a rise of 75% or 1/4 of growth of products. Most of them use some of the financial investments, so our final aim was exceeded by 300%. Almost 70% of clients said that they were satisfied with the project and that they would highly recommend it to their colleagues. Mechanization is very, very important item. There is no doubt about that. On one occasion, when I spoke with my friends about the results, about the age of agricultural mechanization in Serbia, our average age, in 98%, the age is over 30 years of this. They said the situation is a bit better in Vojvodina. They said it's 97% old tractors and mechanization. So it was like a kind of joke because only 1% lower. That's the fact. Our tractors, our mechanization is very old, so they are very initiatives to renew, to make them, to make it possible for the farmers to buy new machines, because otherwise they cannot be productive and competitive. The question is how to justify that number of tractors on such a small number of households. Sorry, what was your question? Okay, now I'm in a... bad situation because I'm just started working on my PhD from economy. So, for example, as economists, if we do analysis, how many hours we need for servicing, for maintenance, when we include all parameters, the question of profitability would come up by itself. So what I want to say, it's better for four neighbors, for example, who cultivate the piece of land of 4 hectares. 10 years ago, we visited some of our farmers in my village, in Arilje. We only saw one family cultivated 6 hectares. So the question is, but it's lots of work and serious approach to change the mentality of people, how to make several neighbors to share the same tractor, for example. It's extremely important to modernize mechanization, to keep up pace with time. It's a prerequisite for many aspects of competitiveness, but I have to say again, especially our small farmers who are a target group of SCAP project, they have to unite, they have to become larger and to appear on market together. That's how they can achieve better results. So they should borrow tractors from each other. When we spoke about on one panel about the usage of tractors, and one professor said one tractor have to work between 500 and 700 hours per year to be profitable. So it's one of the key criteria for profitability, or economic criteria for profitability of factor. Mr. Nikolovski, I think that many farmers would like to know something about agrarian sector of this program. We didn't have any test period, and there were different dissonant tones, but my personal impression is that it functions very well now. Speaking about the agrarian sector, what are your experiences, and what is now, after some period of almost 2 years, this is the 3rd year of this program, what are the results like, and are we okay now in this agrarian sector? Yes, it was a rather new sector, new item in this project. We first initially had to include the ministries, local self-governments, etc., etc. And after 1 year and a half, we have become a kind of experts. Of course, not everything can be 100% resolved. There are some the farmers have to check their parcels, their cultivated farms, documents, etc., etc. But all guidelines are available on the websites. We established a very serious team, so now we are very quick and efficient in resolving many problems compared to what we were doing at the beginning. When I applied for some refunds for excise tax, some people told me, maybe it's not a question for you, but we can raise this issue as a suggestion. For example, the farmers thought that fuel, the prices of fuel went up, and so that immediately the same day they can apply for refund. So, but then they were told that they have to wait for 1 day when it becomes visible in the system, and then they can apply for refunds. So what I wanted to say, that we are still learning in this agro sector. So 11 billion of dinars were allocated to Eror, and once the bill is visible, which is visible in the system after 1 month, then we immediately make a decision. We send it to the client, and the refund and the payment is immediately available through the Ministry of Finance. As soon as they apply for refund, they cannot get the money immediately. We have to check if they entered all data correctly, but we have 97% of realized payments, so it's a serious percentage of successfully resolved payment. But once the application arrives, it has become legal, and after 1 month, this is as much time as we need. Then after 1 month, they have to check their email inbox. They download the decision, and once it becomes legal, 7 days after that, the payment will be on their account. When do you expect that some loans will be available, subsidized loans? They can expect them in March. After application, they communicate with the banks. 1.3% is interest rate for women up to 40 years of age is lower, but the 3-year subsidized loans have a lower interest rate. Others have 3% interest rate. Thank you very much. Only one more question. Which public calls raise the highest interest among your applicants?
Everyone applies for the funds for tractors. Whoever needs it or not, it's the most popular one. So after 3 years, well, they get it. If we can, well, make the cooperative stronger, or to have them organize themselves better in cooperatives. And we just explain to them, you cannot always apply for tractors or always for the cattle breeding, and we try to present these things, the scores better. And for example, we tell them just sell the poorest cattle, but they want always tractors. And when they get tractor, and finally, when they apply, they do not get it. So 1.5 million dinars for cattle raising. It is more than for tractors. Sometimes they apply, the entire family applies and do not get the funds for the tractor. So we try to work on that. So that's the most demanding item, and the largest amount of funds are allocated for that. Now we give the floor to the audience to raise and ask any questions, if you have any questions. Yes, there is a question. The mic will be brought to you. Please, Mike. Good day. My name is Tanja Marvaljević. We cannot hear you. Okay, it's okay now. My name is Vinaria Miraculis, so winemaker Miracule. Can we expect, for example, for the vineyards, any funds This is the question for Mr. Nikolovski. When it comes to the administration for agrarian payments, last year we did not have that. We had for the multi-year plantations. Now we will have in 2025 for the vineyards, and the funds have already been allocated. So when can we expect the public call? Well, in April. Well, how much amount of money will be? It's 18,000 dinars per hectare. Last year, in the past, we gave 10,000 for certified seeds. It would be through the account. We will control every account. You're not going to get all of you this amount. We will control that, and so that will be amount that we will allocate to your accounts. Any more questions? Good day. My name is Uroš Mirčević, Hyper Consulting. I collaborate with the Administration for Agrarian Payments about IPARD and with SCAP. We know each other well. I would like to ask you the following. There's a great competition. For example, for tractor, there were 889 applications for tractors. So there was a public call for mechanization in Mer 1 for raising plantations. So the previous IPARD 2, what was the absorption of funds? So when it comes to IPARD 2, 60%, so 101 million of European money. That was the absorption. Why I'm saying European money was the money that comes from EU. So we had for the mechanization and for raising the perennial plantations, but we have to do the scoring. So when the scoring is present, we cannot accept all the applications. So we need several years to allocate the funds. So the processing of the application lasts for a long period of time, but when the ranking list is finished, the first decisions will be and awards will be sent to. So that's my next questions about the speed of processing of applications. I can see the head, the assistant, assistant head or director of the administration. So what's the speed of the processing of the application? So when we talk about everything, we also talk about the speed of application processing. Can you tell us something about that? Because compared to the IPARD 2, the manner of processing of documentation has been changed, and the control on the spot also changed. Thank you. I don't know if you heard me. When it comes to IPARD 2 program, we were inexperienced about that. There were procedures, rules, they were changed. A new software was introduced. There was the education of the employees. So we, all of us, trained ourselves and educated ourselves through this program. But with all the assistant directors, no matter whether the Center for the Control of Projects or other centers is there, so we were well educated, so there's no reason to wait a lot as it was in the past to wait for 10 months for implementation of the project. For example, in IPARD 2 we did not have shortlisted applicants. Now we have that. So those who do not pass this call, they can apply for the next call. So I think everything will be much quicker. Professor Ševarlić. Yeah? Professor, do you think in your administration about cancelling of equal payment for per hectare, given that the same amount is paid for hectares of the black soil in Sombor and for the 8th class soil in, for example, Bajina Bašta? And we know that subsidies have to be different. and to include the situation in the market and the quality of the soil. And given that e-Agrar has been introduced, why on your website you do not publish the data on ownership of the groups, the way that the statistical office is doing that, so that we can compare the data so that we can know which groups are the major beneficiaries of the e-Agrar funds. So, thank you. When it comes to the first question, the Administration for Agrarian Payments implements the measures. It does not prescribe the measures. So the Sector for Rural Development, as well as the Agrarian Policy, prescribe the measures, and responsible for that. The Administration for Agrarian Payments can say just what the budget is and suggests, proposes the amount and works on that. So who can get based on the hectares? It's not a question for us, but for the Department for the Agricultural Policy. And can you clarify the second question? So we have the ownership group according to the list owned by the Statistical Office from 2012, 13, etc. But we cannot compare the data. What ownership groups are most present in using the funds, subsidized funds per hectare? So just please present the distribution of registered households per their size according to the model of the Statistical Office on your website. Yeah, but the Statistical Office deals that. No. Apologize for interruption. It deals only with the registered, but not all about those who use that subsidy. Yeah, as well as other companies require the data from us. They ask from us to provide them the information about the registered households, what produces are grown at certain areas. We did not have such an inquiry, but the Statistical Office deals with that. Well, we can compare the statistics. It's a program thing. We can do that in a couple of hours. It's not a problem. You can send your inquiry to us, and we can provide you this information. So 0.5 hectares for a vegetable. Then, I don't know, the other amount for fruit, and we can give you the data about the measures used in providing the subsidies, and we can make that analysis. I'm really looking forward to that response, and I'm going to send you the inquiry. When it comes to the first question, of course, you perform what ministry prescribes, but at the same time, you have the obligation to suggest to the ministry what you need to change. I analyzed 2 municipalities, Bačka Palanka and Bajina Bašta. The results are disastrous. In Bajina Bašta, you do not have the various soils, only first and the second class, and in Bačka Palanka, you do not have the 7th and 8th class, and in Bajina Bašta, you do not first and second class, but the same types of subsidies are given to them. Please. I just want to share one brief information related to the second question. With the support of the World Bank and the government of Japan, we are completing the software solution, a Serbian information system in the area of agriculture that was based on the request of the European Commission to report annually on the Serbian agriculture according to the 150 indicators of improvement of the common agricultural policy of the EU, and we noticed that there is a need, as Professor mentioned, of other beneficiaries, and we expanded that scope so that we have the data from e-Agrar, from Faden Base, and from Republic Statistical Office, and then by cross cutting and comparing this, we can do that, but we will wait for that in half a year, of course. But we are, what I wanted to say is that we intensively working on that. That's so-called SCAP, where we are using these acronyms, but the Serbian Agricultural Information Platform for reporting. So that's it. So, Professor, I'm really glad to see you after several years here, and I hope that I managed to give you the answer.
If you don't have any more questions, oh yeah, we have one more question. Sorry, I didn't see it. I'm from the Willamette Association of Arilje. I agree, all of you. My question is regarding our discussion for subsidies for fruit growers in the territory of Serbia. Have you discussed any opportunities for these 18,000 dinars per hectares, because we are not in the same category as husbandry and vegetable growers. As you know, we were together present at many meetings with Minister Pavičić, who is in charge of agrarian politics. We discussed, and the professor also asked a similar question, but regarding the administration for agrarian payment, I do not have the right whether we work on that, but we do, because not all areas are the same for all fruits. Plums cannot be grown everywhere, or raspberries. Somewhere we have a 60%, 80% of subsidies. That's the plan of the Ministry of Agriculture. We are working on that, but I cannot tell you when. It's not realistic to expect it in a month or a month and a half. Thank you very much. If you don't have more questions, I would like to thank you all, dear audience, dear panelists. I do hope that we managed to answer some of your questions regarding the agrarian payments model, because agriculture is a very complex sector which requires constant investments. If you, Director, would like to add anything. You mentioned consultants, so our agrarian payment administration is open to everyone. At the beginning, we, as I said, had some problems, but now we are very experienced. We are your partners, farmers' partners. We work together with you. Our door is open. All of you can come to ask for clarification, to for consultations, etc. At the very beginning, as I said, we didn't have many possibilities, but now we can. We will also develop some guidelines for our farmers, so they will know exactly what to expect, and once we reach the implementation, and when we tell them that the payment will be made and the money will be on their account, to be sure that it will be so, because at the beginning we didn't have enough funds also. Somebody asked about absorption of funds. It was probably higher than 60 and 70%. So each consultant is welcome to our administration. We have experts who will give you professional answers in writing, and then you will be able to consult your clients, your farmers, more efficiently, and then it will save time for processing of their application. Thank you very much for your participation, for great messages and key segments we focused on. And allow me to say a joke. Subsidies are the most important thing in our agrarian payment. Whenever the farmers make selfies or take a photo together, we see their faces. If they are gloomy faces, because we know that we didn't do a good job. If they are smiling, we did a great job. So I'm inviting you to visit our fairs, our stands, to see what you are interested in and share this good picture from our fair and from Serbia. I wish you all the best and thank you very much. I also would like to thank all participants and their guests during the first day of fair. Now I'm inviting you to visit the stands in the hall number 1 and 2. Tomorrow, see you at 10:50. Thank you very much.